Hello there. What's going on, you guys? It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I'm bringing to you a top 10 countdown of the top 10 ships I think that are going to be coming to the Republic and the Separatists in Star Wars X-Wing. Now that we officially have our Wave 3 announcement, the Clone Wars have finally come to X-Wing. We've finally got a reveal for everything that is going to be coming in Wave 3. So as of right now, I'm going ahead and doing a projection top 10. I haven't done a prediction list in a while, so, I might be a little rusty, so I think we can make it through this together. A couple of things. First off, I do want to remind you guys about the giveaway. Don't forget, on or about the 21st of December, I'll be announcing the winner. All you have to do to enter that is to subscribe and leave a comment, and you'll be winning. You can win a Super Star Destroyer in the form of a Cool Stuff gift card, so that's very, very exciting. And I just want to start off, before I get into the countdown also, and talk about this awesome artwork that they have for Wave 3, because there's an awful lot of really, really nice Separatist capital ships in this artwork, isn't there? Lots of Clone Wars capital ships in the artwork. Boy, oh boy. I wonder if they could make some extra use of those capital ships. If only they had a game that used capital ships that could really use Clone Wars. Also, I don't know, guys. What is going on? All right. Anyway, let's also, for purposes of this this countdown, this top 10 list, I am excluding expansions that I think we will see that had the ships have already been revealed. Like, for example, the V-19 Torrent is, you can only get that in the Squadron pack right now. I think there's a reasonable chance that we'll see that as a standalone expansion at one point. But I'm not including that in the top 10. Same thing with the Belbalub 22, although I'm not as certain that we'll see another one of those, just because, we only saw, there were multiple V19s, but I think we only saw the one Belbalub 22, so I don't know how common that one will be, especially since Grievous is already in the one that comes there. I don't know if we'll see that one again, but I'm going with all, ships we haven't seen the models of yet, or at least ships that we haven't seen the models of for the Clone Wars yet. So that being said, let's start with number 10. It's the Z95. While we have seen the models for this one, we haven't seen this for the Clone Wars yet. And this is an interesting one. This is one of the ones that people, I think, thought for sure were going to already come to the Clone Wars, because they've already got Z95s. They've already got the sculpt. They've already released the Z95s so many times already. I think we're on our 4th different Z95 paint job. So there's a lot of Z95s out there. So, it's really kind of saying, all right, guys, might as well use what you got. Everybody uses Z95s. It's kind of like how everybody has a TIE Fighter. So, and now the Scum's getting a TIE Fighter too, and the thing is, for the Republic, they could do an alternate, like a custom Z95. This is one of those ships that was in such wide use in the galaxy, and there were so many variants and customizations. It was, like the Honda Civic of the galaxy. So you can totally fit Z95s in with the Clone Wars. It's canon. They had their own paint scheme. You've already got the model. You could change the sculpt a little bit if you wanted to, but I think they'd be fine just using the same sculpt. I mean, either would work. But that would totally work, and I think this was one that people kind of expected. I'm surprised we haven't seen it yet, but I'm fine with all new sculpts for more new ships too. There wasn't as much really being reused. That's number 10. Number 9, the LAT gunship. This one's a little lower on the list because, like with the Z95, I thought, since they just released the Scum Z95, they're probably not going to do another one. This one's a little lower just because I'm not sure if the LAT is a little too atmospheric for their tastes. It's certainly used more in atmosphere, but it's not exclusively an atmospheric, craft. These work in space. They can go from space to ground and back. They have guns that can shoot in space, and they're very recognizable. This is one of those vehicles that it's really tough to fit into a lot of places. All right, we know like Clone Wars is coming for Legion, but the LAT's awfully big, and it's like, could that be too big for Legion? So if it's too big, and that's an if. I mean, who knows? But if it's too big for Legion, is it, then X-Wing is the next logical place. But if it's not going to be, and this would fill some good roles because, I think every faction, needs to have a transport, like a support ship that can hold like multiple crew. I think everybody needs a 2 or 3 crew ship, and this could totally be that. That especially since I think the Republic's going to have a lot of Jedi crew members, a lot of Jedi, like your Mace Windu, your Yodas, your Ki-Adi-Mundis, your Quinlan Vosses, and all of those, just standing on a ship there like, Master Yoda, would you like to use the Force today?
Yes. No, Master Windu, use the Force, you will.
Very good. I'll tap into the dark side a little bit. I could just see having a carrier doing a whole bunch of stuff like that. And people want the LAT. Everybody loves the LAT. Fans of the Clone Wars are fans of the LAT. So, it's one of the most iconic ships from the Clone Wars. I think you gotta get this one in, and you gotta make an exception. They never went ahead and did like the Cloud Car from Cloud City, and I kind of regret that. But I think this is one that you definitely go ahead and put into the game. But again, I'm not in charge, so. But it made the list. It's just lower on the list. Also kind of low, number 8, the Solar Sailor. This is not one of my favorite designs in the Star Wars universe, but I think it has a pretty good chance of showing up for a couple of reasons. First off, we have a lot. I think there's a lot more Republic ship designs than Separatist ship designs. There just seems to be more. When you go and you start Googling them and looking at them, I think you find the Separatists more often than not only have, there's like maybe 3 main ship types that you see a lot of with them. And I think that's, kind of proven by the fact that they launched with Darth Maul's scimitar, right? Because like Darth Maul wasn't even, in that ship, the episode 1 Darth Maul, that was before the Clone Wars. So granted, it still works, it still works on that side, but so I think you need to get those recognizable ships. I think you need to get those canon, especially the ships that were in the movies, and this is Dooku's ship. So and it's not really like an ace fighter, but it was very fast. And it could have a lot of energy. So there's different ways that they could, this one might have some new mechanics. This one might not show up for a while, but I think it's one that you can easily do, and it could even look pretty cool on the battlefield. Although if the sails are extended, it might be too big. So I think if you do something like this, maybe you do it without the sail. I don't know, but it's a good way to get Dooku in the game. I'm sure they'll have him as an officer, like a Palpatine or a Tarkin or something like that. But it's a good way to get Dooku as a pilot. So I think that's, and so that basically those are the 2 reasons. To get Dooku as a pilot, and also to get him to get another Separatist ship in the game. Next up, the V-Wing. The V-Wing is one of those ships that didn't get a whole lot of screen time in the movies, but it's just super, super cool. And this was one of the later ships. I don't think we saw this until episode 3, but the V-Wing's cool, and it was also featured heavily in the books, made its way all the way up until the Empire, the early days of the Empire. I mean, this one could totally work for the Empire as well. It could even be, and if they're trying to pull, I expect with 7 factions to support, it's very likely you'll see more, maybe an increase of factions that can be run by, or ships that can be run by multiple factions. I could see the V-Wing being a Republic, having Republic versions and also having Imperial versions at some point. Granted, the Empire doesn't need a whole lot of new stuff, but I could see them doing more combo, expansions that have cards for multiple factions. But then again, from a balance perspective, that could always be problematic. You never know, unless you make them drastically different, like give them configurations that really give them their ideal, but are bound to a certain faction. Interesting. Next up, number 6, the Shifa Pede. This is one that I think a lot of people also expected early on because they've already got the model for it in the Phantom 2. Although, granted, there's some different, depending on the animation style, or there's different types of Shifa Pedes. They're not all the same. But I think you already have the model for the one, so you go with that. It's a good shuttle for the Separatists. Separatists don't really have a whole lot of shuttle potential. I mean, they do have some, but this one's great, and you've already got the model for it, and it's a nice little ship. So I think you definitely go with the Shifa Pede. Next up at number 5, we're getting into the stuff I think is far, far more likely to show up, and maybe soon. The Hyena Bomber. The Hyena Bomber is like, I think some people thought that these were the same as your Vulture droids, and they're not. They look very similar. The Hyena Bombers are basically the TIE Bomber to the TIE Fighter, when for the Separatists, and the Hyena Bombers are they're very present. They're in Battlefront 2. They're a staple, and I think they have a role to play too. There's you need that ordnance platform and that bomber ship for the Separatists, and this is ideally the one to do it. So the Hyena Bomber at number 5. Number 4, Republic Ywing. I was surprised this was not one of the launch vehicles because they already have the Ywing, and I think the reason for that is it's going to be a whole new sculpt. Even though they have most of the sculpt already there's so many subtle differences. I think it's going to require a whole new sculpt, and I think it'll be great. I can't wait to get this. And especially if they put the dome on there, so you don't. That's my real big criticism with the X-Wing 2.0 Y-Wing is that the turret on top looks just wretched. I don't mind that it's bigger, but it's obscenely big, which is one thing. If I can get past that, but then the fact that they didn't paint it makes it look even worse. Obviously, I can go back and paint it, but they're selling that to a lot of folks. That's how it looks in the packaging. That makes the game look worse. So hopefully they take their time a little bit more with this one and make this one look really, really good. Because I would actually. Especially if it's just, I don't think it'll just be, it's going to be a different class of Y-Wing, but it'd be kind of cool to use these as proxies, use these models instead. Of course, I don't think you could do that for an official tournament, or couldn't bring that to Worlds or anything, but for casual play, it'd be fun to use these Y-Wings instead of your Rebellion Y-Wings. Right, number 3, the Attitude. Attitude. This was definitely on a lot of people's wish list. We see these in episode 3. Yoda, I believe, has an Attitude as well. At least in Battlefront 2, he's got that cool little green one. Now the Attitudes are going to be another great platform to be able to field Jedi in. And I think what's going to happen, since you do have Jedi in your Delta 7s, I think you're going to see cases where you see the same pilots in multiple ships. I think you'll see Anakin Skywalker show up in multiple ships. I think you will see, certain other pilots show up in multiple ships. But you don't have to. There's lots of Jedi to choose from. I think Anakin is the most likely one to show up in multiple ships, though. Maybe Obi-Wan, but, because Obi-Wan has, he's got at least 2 recognizable ships. But, yes, the Attitude is at number 3. This would be a fun one. Because Vader even flew one of these for a large part of the beginning of the Empire, in the Empire's early days, if you read the books. Again, another combo, like, hey, we're going to run both of these. This for the Empire and for the Republic. Would be really cool. All right, next up, number 2, the Trifighter. Another staple for our friends, the Separatists. This is kind of like their interceptor. This would take the role of like the Ywing or the TIE Interceptor, but for the Separatists, that really fast, that hunter killer type of ship that's going to try and outmaneuver you. It'll be interesting though to see how something like this plays, because I don't know if you're running AI ships, I don't think you can easily get away with giving them like Initiative 6 for just a droid that's being run by a command ship. So they may have some interesting ways to try to. It wouldn't surprise me if they do these and they have some kind of clever way to get around low initiative. Like maybe they get something at the start of the combat step, or maybe they have abilities to reposition, at different times, just to kind of emphasize their jankiness. Be interesting. And it's time for the number one. Have you guessed it yet? Have you guessed number one? Here goes. Number one is the N1 Starfighter. The N1 Starfighter is one that definitely people expected to get. It fits into the category, like since Darth Maul's scimitar was coming in, and people knew that for a while, I think a lot of people thought, well, episode 1 stuff is good. And these guys weren't only in episode 1. They're still using these guys in the Rebellion. Again, we're talking about the possibility of having dual faction ships. You could easily have Leia in one of these. She used these in the comics. They have already shown that they have no problem pulling stuff from the comics and from other, like they've pulled stuff from the video games. They've pulled lots of pilots from Battlefront 2. They've pulled pilots from books. They've pulled pilots from video games. They've pulled pilots from comics. They'll pull pilots from whatever. And they pulled pilots and stuff from TV shows, Star Wars Rebels, right? And we don't have Leia as a pilot, so the N1 would be perfect to get Leia in for the Rebels. But more importantly, this is how you get your one of your most recognizable Clone Wars ships into the game, and it would obviously be for the Republic. And the thing is, I wonder if you're gonna give you kid Anakin Skywalker, like baby Annie, like little Annie. Like, I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll give you little Annie. But wouldn't that be cool, little Annie and R2? And make him totally different, because he's got. I really hope the Ywing, does actually gyroscope around, and then somebody will eventually take that and mod this so that it spins on the base, and you have the base go up like behind it, and then you can spin it. So you can say, let's try spinning. That's a good trick. The prequel memes. I used to hate them, but now I love them so much, man. If you can't tell, I'm in a really good mood because this Clone Wars stuff is so exciting, and I can't stop smiling. What? Get the cheeks down. No, down. No. I can't stop. If you're as happy as I am, go ahead and like this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell for alerts. And don't forget to check out Crabbok.com. I just wrote a little article about the Wave 3 stuff. Not a whole lot of information that's not already in my videos, but I'm trying to do a little more with the website as well. And B-Wing says hi. We're kind of hoping we can see a B-Wing soon as well. The one that spins. Maybe one that has S-foils that move too. It would be fun. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.